a lot of people who like are online and into bows and into tuning bows, and obviously all the stuff that Cam Haynes has done has heard of the bow rack, and so you kind of cut your teeth over there as a bow technician. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So what was it
Uh,
kind of like coming up in that environment? I mean, it's world famous. I mean, essentially at this point, and they kind of set the standard almost.
yeah, absolutely. So kind of going back to my history with with the bow rack. I got my first bow when I was 12. So that was 2000. Um, and I just literally looked in the phone book, like when a phone book was still a thing, like for an archery shop. And I found the bow rack, and I didn't know, tit from tat back then. So I just went in there, ended up getting a bow for Christmas that year. And my goal at the time was to kill a turkey with it. Like I saw there was a kid that came in sixth grade. It's kind of like show and tell, but they call it a brown bag speech. So you would on the first day of class, you'd come in and you'd have a brown grocery bag full of things that represented your interests and whatever you wanted to talk about. And one of the kids in that class brought in, it was like a broken off piece of like the fletched end of an arrow. And he was like, "Yeah, my dad and I bow hunt." And I had seen a lot of like, the Outdoor Channel and TNN Outdoors and all that, but like I never saw kids bow hunting. I didn't really know it was possible. And so the light bulb kind of went off. And I killed a couple deer with a rifle, and we'd been turkey hunting a couple times. And I really, for whatever reason, I wanted to shoot a turkey with a bow. So I get the bow, and pretty much every day, I just got obsessed with shooting. So like pretty much every day from the time I was 13 until I could drive myself, when I was 16 or 17, my mom would pick me up from school, drive me to the bow rack, drop me off for 3 hours, go grocery shopping or whatever, and pick me back up. And Wayne, the owner there, was like, he has a son my age, Nathan, who is a vastly superior hunter to me to date. But at the time, we were both just kind of getting into that age where like we could actually start bow hunting. Wayne took me under his wing. They became essentially like a second family to me. Uh, and after college, I was back in Eugene, had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Was just kind of bouncing around from odd job to odd job. And I got a call from Wayne one day, and he just said, "Hey, we could use an extra hand. You know your way around a bow a little bit. We'll teach you the tech side of things." And so that was 2014, I think. Yeah, going into 2014. And I just fell in love with it, and stayed there for almost just a couple months short of 10 years. But during that time, what I realized was like how much attention to detail Wayne had for setting up a bow. Um, there's I just assumed growing up that every shop was like that. And I shot in college for a short time back at James Madison University. And I remember I got a new set of strings, and one of the kids on the team was like, do you want me to help put those on for you?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I'll just take it to the local archery shop." And he kind of smiled. And anyway, I took it down there, and it was literally like they had like four bows and some targets in the corner of like an Ace Hardware, like a feed store basically. And I like handed him my bow, and he's kind of looking at it. He's like, because it was a Hoyt Pro Tech something. It was a target bow. He's kind of looking at it. Like I could tell he had never seen a bow like that before. And he puts it in the press, and he takes out the strings, and he's kind of starting to put them on. And like I had not strung a bow at that point by myself, but I knew watching him and having seen Wayne do it that wasn't how you're supposed to do it. Uh, and so that was my first clue, is like, oh, okay, I guess not all archery shops are the same. Like there isn't like a standardized, level that these shops have to be at. Um, so yeah, when I started working there, like it was really cool to see the passion and just how much attention to detail they put into a setup, because especially as we've progressed with technology, like there's no reason you're spending a lot of money on these bows. There's no reason you can't get them to shoot as close to what someone would consider perfect, at least equipment wise, right? Like the dummy behind the bow is one issue, but there's no reason we shouldn't be able to get the equipment to perform at the most optimized level that we can. And so over the years, I mean, yeah, I met a lot of people I never thought I would meet. You know, Cam was someone that when I was a kid, we'd go to 3D shoots and Cam Haynes would be there, and he had just started writing for Eastman's hunting journal at that point. And that was, you know, kind of the precursor to him launching into what what he is now. But he's always been, you know, he's a familiar face. He's always been very courteous and very nice to everybody. I know, obviously, people get us. He's kind of one of those polarizing guys, right? Where it's like people either love him or hate him. But um, being able to grow up around that and see just the really just the passion and the community around archery, I think is what kind of really drew me into it. And whether it was bow hunting or competing or whatever, just being able to have something that you know, I could always, I never lost interest in it. Like I've done a lot of things in my life, and it's the only thing that's really stuck with me the entire time. So, yeah, being in the bow rack for as long as I was, and seeing them progress to a point where, you know, they're a brand as much as they are a pro shop at this point. And you'll be in a airport of Minneapolis and some dude's wearing a bow rack t-shirt, you know.
Yeah.
And they've done really well for themselves, and I'm very thankful that, you know, Wayne and Lisa and some of the guys that worked there at the time, like Chris Phillips and Chris Stewart, you know, they didn't let you get away with something that wasn't right. You know, it
Hmm.
was like, yeah, this might work, but that's not the way we do it.